ninth martyrdom anniversary of this young Kashmiri freedom fighter, Burhan Wani, was observed. How you see the impact of his sacrifice on the freedom struggle which is on in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir?
The attraction of the youth, everybody wanted them to die Burhan's death in Kashmir. And the newer generation, the young scholars who came out, joined the ranks, and they fueled this struggle with their blood. The resistance from the people, from the younger generation, they used all the tools they have to create an international impression about the freedom struggle.
Altaf Wani sir, what is the current status of this freedom struggle?
International media never accepted that there is a calm in Kashmir. They never accepted that Kashmiris have given up the struggle. They did a false flag operation of Pahalgam, which unfortunate to the Indians, they were fully exposed to the international world.
So how you see that India got failed, right, in projecting its false narrative against Pakistan, and Pakistan's narrative went very well. How you see the war of narratives?
The Pakistan's narrative
was accepted,
overrode the Indian narrative. It was very strong. It was very simple. It was very normal in the things, and it was on basis of realism. And while as the Indian narrative has always been a propaganda, a false narrative, actually the Modi government has in all its forms isolated India at the international front.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to program Inside in V News English. Dear viewers, when we talk about freedom struggle in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir, one name strikes our minds, and that is Mr. Burhan Wani, our young Muslim freedom fighter who embraced martyrdom in 2016. And he laid down his life but refused to compromise on his freedom struggle, refused to compromise on different things, and he upheld the flag of freedom struggle, which is still going on in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. People in occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Azad Jammu and Kashmir and elsewhere in the world observe the 9th martyrdom anniversary of Shaheed Burhan Wani, who is now remembered among the youth of not only in Jammu and Kashmir, elsewhere in Pakistani Kashmiri diaspora as symbol of resistance against Indian occupation. In today's conversation, we will discuss that over past 9 years, what has happened, what has been impact of his great martyrdom on the freedom struggle. People, of course, do observe his martyrdom anniversary. There was an event in the capital of Azad Jammu and Kashmir yesterday, where a very large number of people from different walks of life participated in various events organized by the people of Jammu and Kashmir. And elsewhere in the world, there have been rallies, there have been seminars in which the speakers, the participants paid huge tribute to the struggle that was made by Shaheed Burhan Wani. To discuss this all, and what is the future of this freedom struggle in Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir? What is situation after 22nd of April 2025 Pahalgam incident? Where Pakistan stands now in terms of its supports to the people of Jammu and Kashmir? Where issue of Jammu and Kashmir stands after 22nd April? Has India been able to get the world attention on Pahalgam incident? And if you look into these all development, India bitterly failed at diplomatic level in securing any win against Pakistan on Pahalgam incident. We will also discuss this all. We are fortunate to have with us Mr. Altaf Hussain Wani, who is Executive Director of Kashmir Institute of International Affairs. Mr. Wani, very warm welcome to program Inside in Videos English.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, so as it is in your knowledge, that ninth martyrdom anniversary of this young Kashmiri freedom fighter, Burhan Wani, was observed. Over the last 9 years, 9 years have passed. How you see the impact of his sacrifice on the freedom struggle, which is on in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir? Particularly, the youth got some inspiration from his struggle that spanned over a few years.
Thank you very much. Actually, Burhan Muzaffar Wani, he rose to the uh, in the realm of freedom struggle. It was not because his choice; he was forced to do it. Once he and his brother, when they were traveling on a motorcycle towards home, the BSF people uh, thrashed them. They tortured his brother, and Burhan ran away and then never came back. He went to, and then he joined the ranks of the freedom struggle. And one thing which Burhan did at that time, why Burhan became the symbol of resistance, why Burhan is treated as the youth icon in Kashmir, is because at that time, the Indians were propagating around the globe and in Kashmir that we have almost crushed the freedom struggle in Kashmir and there is total calm in Kashmir. It was in 2012, 13, I would say, in those days. But Burhan then spoke. He was innocent. He spoke directly to the people, and he was fortunate enough to come into limelight in the when social media was starting to have influence on youth. So he used this social media. He connected with the youth of Indian occupied Kashmir directly with his messages, with his Facebook posts, with all these things. And he also connected with the people at large and also addressed to the Indian audience also that we are not against the people of India. What we do, we want the Indian army to vacate our land. It educated people, doctors, engineers, and many more. They got in, and we saw a new resistance in Kashmir, and people around the globe who were Kashmir watchers, they witnessed that Kashmir is having a new icon in times of resistance as we had in previous. We talked about. Then we had Hamid Sheikh, Muhammad Yasin Malik, Asandar, many more who were celebrated in Kashmir. But now it was Burhan's time. Burhan was celebrated everywhere. So after his martyrdom, when he was martyred by the Indian troops, he was martyred extrajudicially. He was in a house and they were caught and then martyred. And then we saw the way he was given a send off by the people of Kashmir. This again gave a rise to the Kashmiri freedom struggle at international level. It was whether it was Washington Post, whether it was BBC London, whether it was CNN, or any other international news outlet that covered Burhan's martyrdom, the aftermath of Burhan's martyrdom, the way the Indians used pellets in Kashmir, and then whole of the pages were written in international newspapers on Kashmir and the year of dead eyes and whatnot. And so the attraction of the youth, everybody wanted them to die Burhan's death in Kashmir. And the newer generation, the young scholars who came out, joined the ranks, and they fueled this struggle with their blood. So we have seen past some years that after Burhan's death, we saw the two reports from the UN High Commissioner's reports in 2018 and then 2019 mentioning Burhan's martyrdom and all that, what happened at that time. And so it gave a new life to Kashmiri's resistance at that time. And it continues to inspire the younger generation in Kashmir. Despite, we can see after these long 9 years of his martyrdom, we could see that Indians abrogated Article 370, 35A. They tried to change each and everything in Kashmir in order to suppress the people's struggle. But we could see the resistance from the people, from the younger generation. They used all the tools they have to create an international impression about the freedom struggle. That's why Indian state got frustrated each and every time. They say we use so much of power, we use so much of military, we use so much of
To crush it.
bribe to politicians and other things. But even then, the resistance is there. The people of Kashmir are not giving up, and that is what Burhan's rise in the freedom struggle and his martyrdom has been in Kashmir.
Altaf Wani sir, what is the current status of this freedom struggle? As you said that the youth got inspiration from Shahadat of Mr. Wani, this Burhan Wani. So what is the
So the
current
current struggle
status
of
of...
hello.
Yes, listening. Please go ahead.
Yes, current freedom struggle is that we saw that after 5th of August, as I was telling you, what the Indians did and how they tried to change the identity of the people of Kashmir. They tried to change the demography of Kashmir. They tried to change the political as well as religious landscape in Kashmir through different means by changing the domiciles laws and by bringing in the non-state subjects and mostly the Hindu fundamentalists to Kashmir. That was the Indian plan to change it all. And then we saw the way the militarized pilgrimage of Amarnath Yatra has been going on from long period of time. And currently we see how government of India is facilitating that yatra and how they create hurdles when there's any Muslim festivity in Kashmir. They create hurdles in that. But Amarnath Yatra is being protected. They are being provided each and every support. That's on one hand. That on the other hand, we could see that Indians started again a mantra around the globe that there is total calm in Kashmir. There we have created development Kashmir and people of Kashmir are with us. And this was the huge propaganda of Indians which they did around the globe. At each and every platform, Indian diplomacy, Indian even foreign ministry, Indian prime minister would talk about it, and all other Indian dignitaries will talk about it. And they will always say that Kashmir is calm, Kashmiris are happy with the abrogation of Article 370 and 35A. But they tried to hold the G20 summits in Kashmir, but they failed to do that in a large extent because most of the countries did not participate, fearing this law and order situation in Kashmir. And then most now at current, what we see after 22nd of April, we saw a new phase of things happening in Kashmir. When Indians were propagating all that on one hand that there is total calm in Kashmir. Kashmiris have accepted the abrogation of Article 370, 35A. There is no hurriyat, there is no militancy in Kashmir, so we have done it. But we could see a lot of things happening on the other side, on the Jammu side of the line of control. We could see the lot of encounters taking place in those places. The life of Gujar and Bakrwals was made hell by the Indian intelligence agencies. And then there was a false flag operation by the Indians in order to, because there were the international media never accepted that there is a calm in Kashmir. They never accepted that Kashmiris have given up the struggle. Because in March session in the United Nations Human Rights Council, when Human Rights Commissioner said that the freedom of speech in India and freedom of expression and also freedom of press in India and Indian occupied Kashmir, and this was the way the whole Indian media and its whole machinery, they rose to the skies and then made all the statements against this High Commissioner, and they were very much furious about it. And then they, in order to have the impact that there is still going on, what the Indians call that there is terrorism in Kashmir, they did a false flag operation of Pahalgam, which unfortunate to the Indians, they were fully exposed to the international world because they have done it in past, and past they succeeded in creating an impression at the international stage. But this time they were totally exposed at the international level, at all levels. None of the international bodies or none of the international actors did resonate with the Indian, what the Indians said about it. And so, but what Indian did after it, they blamed Pakistan first, and then they had a crackdown in Kashmir, and they killed so many people. At least at that time, 3 extrajudicial killings took place in Kashmir, and then scores of houses were demolished. Thousands of people were arrested in Kashmir, and again the blame game. But they failed in that blame game, be that at national level, at international level, and at the top of it, when they tried to invade, to do some extraterritorial activities. They fired missiles in Pakistan on the civilian population in Azad Kashmir. Then the retaliation from the Pakistanis was seen by the world, and Indians' defeat on military front as well as on diplomatic front has caused India a huge loss at international stage. And we could see that Pakistan's international structure has risen after that, because Pakistan, a very diplomatically at first stage, they said that if there is anything about Pakistan, we are ready to cooperate with the India in the investigations. And then the Indians did not respond to that, and they said if there is any proof, let's share those proofs. But the Indians had no proof at all, so they could not share anything. And instead, they fired missiles and Pakistan at killing the civilians at each and every spot, and that created a huge loss to the Indian propaganda, which the Indian Godi media used to always create a hue and cry around the globe. And this time also, they were in other ways exposed, because they used to say to the Indian public that we have conquered Lahore, Islamabad, and Karachi also. But to the knowledge of the international world, there was that Rafales were down and Indian whole system was collapsed, and that was the defeat on the military front. On airspace, India got defeated. So I think that gave hope to the people of Kashmir, which India used to use against the Pakistan or people of Kashmir, that Pakistan cannot do anything for you. Pakistan, after 5th of August, has abandoned, and there were a lot of propaganda that what happened on the 5th of August, it was a collaborative effort by the respective governments, and all these propagandas were down. And I think at current, this the freedom struggle in Kashmir, that has gained again a momentum at political level, at diplomatic level, and also I think Pakistan has risen to the occasion, and Pakistan is at current, I could see that diplomatically on international scene, we could see Pakistan has an upper hand on the India, and Indian false propaganda has fallen flat.
Mr. Altaf Wani, after 22nd of April, of course, the situation led to the war that you described, that there was a clash. Then there was a clash on 10th of May this year. Afterwards, there was also a war of narratives. India tried to project a narrative against Pakistan, which you said that its propaganda got failed. And Pakistan also later on sent a delegation to important capitals to project Pakistan's narrative over Pahalgam and over whatever is happening in Jammu and Kashmir. The delegation visited New York, Washington, London, and Brussels. On the other hand, Indian delegation led by their firebrand speaker, Shashi Tharoor, failed in convincing the world. So how you see that India got failed, right, in projecting its false narrative against Pakistan, and Pakistan's narrative went very well. How you see the war of narratives?
You see, it was, I think, for the first time to my, what I remember, the Pakistan's narrative
was accepted,
overrode the Indian narrative. It was very strong. It was very simple. it was very normal in the things, and it was on basis of realism. And while as the Indian narrative has always been a propaganda, a false narrative, but what the advantage Indians had in the past, they used it to use it to their advantage, and there was no rebuttal of that and proper time. So I think this time, Pakistan's Foreign Office, Pakistan's military spokesperson, I should give due credit to those, to Pakistani media, who behaved very like responsible media. Pakistan's media was responsible. They were not a propaganda media. They did a very nice job, Pakistan's media and Pakistan's whole of the diplomatic community and also opinion makers in Pakistan. They were on the right side of the history. And that's why the Pakistan won this war of narratives even before these delegations went out and even before those delegations traveled around the globe. That's why our delegation was on a very stronger path. They had the resources to overpower the Indian narrative. And that's why a speaker like Shashi Tharoor, who is a firebrand speaker, not to talk
Auditor,
of his knowledge
scholar.
about things, everything. One should not take anything away from him. But he failed to convince the international world what Modi government was doing. Actually, the Modi government has in all its forms isolated India at the international front. You can see that most recently we saw that Modi tried to create a havoc of Pahalgam and they tried to do it at Shanghai conference, they tried to do it at BRICS, they tried to do it each and everywhere, but they did not get any
But
of the
they
responses
failed.
from those, and there was nothing against Pakistan.
Mr. Altaf Wani, since you have been extensively traveling to different countries in Europe, and including Brussels, which is the seat of European Union, and you have been attending also UN Human Rights Council sessions in Geneva, these two places matters a lot in as far as international affairs are concerned. And this voice from Brussels or from Geneva is very strong. Please share with our viewers to what extent the community in Europe and the diplomatic community and at Geneva, where there are a lot of United Nations mission, to what extent that community is convinced about this legitimate struggle by the people of Jammu and Kashmir.
To be honest enough, on the moral ground, on or a legal grounds, each and everyone in Geneva, in everywhere who is dealing with it, whether it's a diplomat or a human rights defender, he says that people of Kashmir should get the right celebration, and they're concerned
Public
about what's
opinion
happening
is
in
in
Kashmir.
their favor.
Even human
Public
rights
opinion
defenders,
is
they
in their
condemn.
favor.
They issue reports on that. They do all that, and likewise. I think all those people around the globe are very much concerned about situation in Kashmir. But what was the edge to the Indians, and what edge they used was that they used it to. They are the allies of the West. They were allies of the United States. But at currently, I think President Trump's call for securing the ceasefire between India and Pakistan, which India time and again President Trump, and he had the ceasefire, and the arrogance, the Indian arrogance at international stage. Yes, there are people. There is everything that India is a large market. India is a huge economy. People want to do the economic business with India. But at the same time, they are very much fed up of Indians' arrogance. The way the Indian leaderships have been arrogant to different things. So the people wanted also them that to show them that they are not indispensable anyway. And that's why even today, President Trump said that all those who side with the BRICS will have to face the 10% more increase in tariffs. That is direct to Modi ji. That is to the Modi, that Modi, you are not indispensable. You don't think you're. So then also West remained, although West remained quite mute. West did not side anywhere. But this was a very setback to the Indians. To the Indians think that at that time that France, Germany, and others will side by them. Nobody was at their side. So I think India is this time, I think, at the lowest in the international arena in past. Even it's not it not should be taken as a propaganda by us. Even Indian strategists, Indian political scientists, they have said that the India has failed on international front. India has failed in a diplomatic front to convince the world about what has been happening, and the attitude of the Modi government has been responsible for it.
Mr. Wani, so initially when Trump intervened, there was also an impression that India and Pakistan will sit on negotiation table. Pakistan was ready. So what do you think? Why India is running away from holding talks with Pakistan? Because talks is the only solution for way forward. So why India is running away from talks? Why India is running away from the fact that the ceasefire was managed by Americans? And why India is not accepting that the ceasefire was backed by India?
See, the populistic leadership like this Modi and others, he plays everything for his election campaigns, to secure the election wins in India, to brand himself as a very strong man against Pakistan and all that. When they got defeated in the military front or the diplomatic front, but if at any time, let's say when Jai Shankar endorsed that three rifles were down, when the Indian military leadership said it, that the Indians got a huge damage through this and they were not ready for this. But even then, the BJP, the RSS government, they will continue with this, though there is a lot of pressure on them to talk to Pakistan, to talk to people of Kashmir in order to resolve this. But I think they will continue like this, but at the back channel, I think they will have to do some talking to the Pakistan in order to see how these matters can be resolved.
In the mid of July, Pakistan will be holding a high-level segment at United Nations Security Council because Pakistan currently heads UN Security Council. As a prominent Kashmiri leader, what are your expectations during this current month that what Pakistan should do vis-a-vis this issue of Jammu and Kashmir, then also to counter Indian allegations on terrorism against Pakistan? So Pakistan got a huge diplomatic opportunity. So your thoughts and your expectations?
You see, expectations are very high, and expectations always remain high, and we should expect that Pakistan will use this opportunity to the best of its abilities in order to make the Kashmir case in the UN Security Council again. It has been taken up previously 3 times after 2019, but I think this time, if Pakistan is able to do it, it will be a great achievement to have a discussion on Kashmir and also to discuss the terrorism-related things, what India has been time and again alleging Pakistan, while as the Pakistan is itself facing a huge threat of terrorism day in and day out, and they are fighting on 4 fronts against terrorism. So I think Pakistan will make good use of it and should make a good use of this opportunity, and so that Kashmir again comes to the limelight and also peace and security in the region is addressed.
Lastly, I would like to seek your opinion. United Kingdom was one of the partner in creating this particular dispute back in when this partition plan was made, 3rd June 1947. So since last 77, 78 years, we don't see very active participation of United Kingdom in resolving this dispute because they created this particular issue by a biased demarcation between Pakistan and India. So how you see this ineffective role by United Kingdom? Prime responsibility lies on them. They are also a member of the United Nations Security Council.
Yes, they are. And we have been seeing that previously the Labour governments used to take up the Kashmir issue and they had a policy on it. But currently, the Labour government has also been some sort of dormant on it. And the problem in United Kingdom is that the problem of leadership. We could see that the leadership in the political parties is of very weak leaderships come, and they don't want to touch such things which they think those can affect their the voting patterns in the country, and they want to talk on some issues which are related to the common man in United Kingdom. But at this, having said that, United Kingdom has a responsibility, and they will have to take this responsibility. And along with that, our huge diaspora is there. That diaspora has the responsibility to create. They are doing their bit, but they have to create more and more awareness in the United Kingdom, and find more friends in the parliaments and the diplomatic community in order to get support from the United Kingdom.
Thank you so much indeed, Mr. Altaf Hussain Wani. Despite your very busy schedule in European capital, you spared time and participated in our discussion program on the anniversary of Shaheed Burhan Wani, the young man who is still remembered as icon of struggle, resistance against Indian occupation in Indian illegally occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And furthermore, you shared your strategic insight on a number of issues related to Jammu and Kashmir. Thank you once again. And
thank you so much.
Till our next program, goodbye and Khuda Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz.